All of tonight's recipes were things you asked to see. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Kira if you are new, and tonight's video is solely about you pick dinners. So a couple of months back, I did a grocery haul and I asked you guys in the comments to leave me some of your dinner idea inspirations. We are the kind of people who do not eat out. Maybe once a week we'll grab a lunch, maybe once a month we'll grab a dinner, but for the most part, I cook every single night. And so it gets a little tiring. Sometimes I feel like I'm constantly bringing the same things to the table, or I can disappoint my family because I'm reaching and trying to create all of these new recipes because I'm tired of the same old, same old. So the inspiration that you guys gave me was incredible. And these were 3 dinners that you guys said you'd like to see. And if you like this kind of video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments, and I'll go back and continue to keep sharing the dinners that you guys asked to see. But we're going to start off first with a chicken parmesan meatloaf, which I'm all about chicken parmesan and we love ourselves a good meatloaf. So I was very curious to see how this was going to turn out. Looks like a lot of ingredients, but it's really not. So you're going to need some fresh parsley here. This really made a huge difference. I have 1 large clove of garlic here because it's elephant garlic. Otherwise, you'll need about 3 to 4 cloves. I have a small red onion. I have some Parmesan cheese, about 3 tablespoons of butter. We're going to need some olive oil. I have 2 pounds here of some ground chicken. I'm sure you could use this with beef, but being that it's a chicken parm dupe, you're going to use the ground chicken, and it really was so good with that. We need 1 egg. You're going to need some mozzarella cheese. The recipe did call for Italian seasoning, which I happen to be out of, and so I have a basil and oregano here. I'm also using this Velletti's Savory Collection pasta sauce. I got it from the Dollar Tree, so I want to be able to give that a try. And then we have some regular panko breadcrumbs and then some Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. We need some milk and then some salt and pepper. That is it, you guys. I'm a mover and a shaker. I really am very, very poor at measuring. That's why it's super hard to do a cookbook, because I have to completely condition myself to make sure that I measure everything out. But all of the links to the inspiration that I used will be in the description box. But on this cutting board, we have our onion, our garlic, and our parsley all diced up. And so in a pan on the stove with a little bit of olive oil that's heated to temperature, we're going to just add in the onion and the garlic. And you're going to sweat that down and cook it down until everything gets caramelized. You'll see there was a few straggling pieces of parsley, but that's okay. I did add a little bit of salt and pepper to the onion and garlic. Obviously, salt and pepper really just helps with anything to give some really good flavor. Once the onion and garlic is done caramelizing, we're going to take it out because we're going to use that same pan for other steps, and you're just going to put that in a bowl on the side. The whole house smelled fragrant and amazing, just like that onion and garlic. And then now in our bowl, we're going to go ahead and add our chicken. So dump in both of the 2 pounds of your ground chicken, and then you're pretty much going to add most of your other ingredients. So you're going to crack in that egg. You're going to add in just the Italian breadcrumbs at this step of the panko. We're going to reserve for the top. We're going to throw in a few splashes of milk. We're going to add in that Parmesan cheese, the fresh parsley. Here's where I added the oregano and the basil, or you would add Italian seasoning. I added in a salt and pepper. And then you're probably like, why are there cheese sticks there? We did not see that in the beginning. Well, it calls for mozzarella, and so you just use that for the top. I did not understand until I reread the recipe a couple of times that she wanted cheese sticks, 3 of them cut into 1-inch cubes. So I put the cheese sticks in there along with our caramelized onion and garlic, and you're you're just going to give everything a good mix till it's all mixed and incorporated through evenly. And now we're just going to put it on a foil lined sheet pan, and you're going to shape it however you want it. You could put it in a loaf pan, but I feel like it takes longer to cook. By doing it this way, like a nice thin layer, it just seems to cook a little bit faster. But once you get your desired shape to your meatloaf, you're going to just cover the top with sauce. I wish I had my sauce. My sauce is a little thicker. This was a little thin. I'll know for next time though. And then we're just going to go ahead and stick it in a 350-degree oven, and we're going to cook it for about 30 to 40 minutes. Once it's getting close to being done, we're going to melt those couple of tablespoons of butter, and now we're going to add in some more of that fresh cut parsley. Here's where we're going to add in the panko. You're going to add in some more parm cheese. I did a little bit of salt and pepper, and then I mixed it all together, and you're going to make this really flavorful like breadcrumb that's going to go on the top along with our mozzarella. So once that was done and it was cooked all the way through, again, it's easier to do with ground chicken than if you were to do beef or something like that. But once it was cooked all the way through, you can see like it was already bubbly and yummy. I do feel like the sauce, like I said, was a little thin. I wish it was a little bit thicker, but then I put a cup of mozzarella along the top and sprinkled our mixture that we made along top of that cheese. And then we are going to stick it back in the oven for just about another 5 to 10 minutes to get everything melty and bubbly and gooey and cheesy. But look how delicious and yummy that looks. If your oven doesn't do it, you can stick it on broil even just to get that brown and bubbly look. But this was such a hit in my family. Everybody loved it. And I can't even imagine how good it would be if we had a little bit more of that pasta sauce. I feel like it was just lacking to be a little bit more saucy, but I made my mom's macaroni and ragout on the side. You guys, this was a winner. So whoever suggested chicken parm meatloaf, thank you. Now for our next recipe, this was actually the recipe that won. This was the one that I picked out of everything, and it was inspired by my friend Leanne over at Grady's Mom. It's a recipe of hers I had never tried. She had a ton of recipe videos by the time that I had met her, so I did not go back and watch all of them, but this was something that you guys suggested, and it uses boneless, skinless chicken thighs, which we are actually all about. She's actually the one who kind of taught me to do the Mississippi chicken and all of that. So I definitely trust her judgment when it comes to chicken thighs. So you'll need a couple of pounds of that. You'll need some restaurant style salsa, some pinto beans, a can of cream corn, and some olive oil. That's it. Like a very, very simple recipe. She calls it a rustic Spanish peasant stew. And I really found this to be quite good, but I would do tweaks along the way, and we'll talk about that. So here are my salt and peppered chicken thighs that we're going to throw into some screaming hot oil onto the pan to get like a crust on them. We're not cooking them through. We're just giving them a good crust. Okay. And then once we get a good crust on both sides for all of the meat, we're going to load it into the crock pot. I mean, you could see peekaboo of pink all through those thighs because they're not cooked all the way through. If you cook them all the way through, they're not going to get super, super tender. We're just braising them on the outside to give them a crunch, just to kind of lock in all of that flavor. Once your chicken thighs are in there, we're going to dump in that container of salsa, the entire can of pinto beans, and then the entire can of the creamed corn. And then I did just take like a fork or a spoon or whatever and just kind of smooth it all around so that all the flavors could just mix evenly while it was cooking. And I put the lid on, and it was only needed to cook for 4 hours on high. So that's kind of perfect for one of those super quick meals. But here is where my suggestion and like tweaks lie. So when I watched her plate it, her chicken thighs almost came out whole, which I was hoping mine were going to, so I can serve it on the plate the way I do, say, Mississippi chicken. And she didn't serve it with anything else. She made cornbread with it. And in her bowl that she put this whole piece of chicken, she still ladled this very soupy mixture with it. And that's why she called it a stew. But For me, a stew is a little bit thicker, like something that you would dunk bread in. And my chicken was so tender that it just fell apart and it shredded. And so it shredded in this liquid and it was so good. The flavor was amazing. Jake thought it was so super delicious, but because of the beans and the salsa, it still just gave a Tex-Mex vibe. So we all ended up draining the liquid, so to say, like using tongs to pick up the shredded chicken, and we all did something taco-ish with it. So I made a taco bowl. I put some in a bowl. I melted cheese on top, a little sour cream, red onion, cilantro, and some chips, and ate it like that, and it was super, super fantastic. I love the idea of the cornbread, but then I would probably put cornbread in the bowl and ladle this over it, or maybe over a baked potato like I just did in my air fryer recipe. It was just very soupy. And so I feel like it needed to be over something, maybe even rice. I wasn't prepared for the consistency, but I know now and I will use it for the future. We actually have so much left over that I froze some. So when we use it again, we will try different ways, but I have to say it was super good. And you guys, a dump and go, super easy recipe. And for our last recipe, we're doing those Birria Tacos. And I was dying to do this. When you guys put it in the comments, I was excited because I have been seeing this go viral everywhere and I wanted to try them myself. But I will say, like, warning, these are a little spicy. So I do have like one of these large hatch peppers. I have a lime, I have avocado, I have garlic, onion, some tomatoes, I have bay leaves, I have adobo and chipotle, I have apple cider vinegar, some beef broth, I have a few pounds of short ribs, cinnamon, cumin, oregano, clove, and then I have some fajitas and then some shredded cheese. It sounds like a lot, and I was very overwhelmed when I put out all of the ingredients, and I'm like, what am I getting myself into? I don't really have time for this week because I made these the day before St. Patrick's Day, which was virtually the day before I was leaving to go away. But it worked out just fine, you guys, and you will see how easy that this will work. So here we go. I have the onion, the garlic, the tomatoes, and the peppers all cut on my cutting board. So we're going to start out little by little, and we're going to put in the onions and the garlic first inside of that olive oil. And just like before, you're going to sweat that down. We don't need it caramelized, but you need it to start getting like aromatic where the whole house starts to smell like that. Once that happens, we're going to add in our pepper, and then you're going to do the same thing. Let them start to get tender and wilt down. And now we're going to add in our tomatoes. The tomatoes are soft. They don't need as much time to cook down and be tender. And once you're done with that, you're going to put it off to the side. And in a blender, we're going to add 2 cups of beef broth in this measuring cup. I know it didn't really focus that well. The camera skills on this video are pretty poor. I'm sorry about that, you guys. But we added in the mixture that we cooked on the stove. We're going to add in some of our spices. First goes in a tablespoon of oregano, a tablespoon of cumin. I did smell that my pan was ready. The olive oil was nice and hot. So our short ribs went in with salt and pepper so that they can start braising before they go into the crock pot. Back to seasonings, we're going to add in our cinnamon, our cloves, the apple cider vinegar, and the adobo. And we're going to blend that all in the blender. And we're going to make pretty much a consomme that these short ribs are going to cook in. So once that's done, we're going to flip our short ribs over, and I ended up taking time and cooking it on every side. I mean, there's so many sides of those big thick short ribs that I went on all 4 sides to get a good braise on them. And then once they were done, I stuck them in our lined crock pot with 2 cups of beef broth, all of that consomme that we made. We're going to add in 3 bay leaves, and then that is pretty much it, you guys. We're going to add on the lid, and then this needs to cook low and slow. So that's pretty much what I did. I started it off on high for 1 hour just to get it good and hot and going, and then I let it cook low and slow for the rest of the day. And then once it was all done, I mean, I almost had a hard time getting it out of the of the crock pot because it was falling apart. So I was able to just fork tender, get the bones off and out, and then get all of that meat chopped up. It does, like I said, have a bite. And then now with my skillet, which is how I had seen it done, which I thought was so super cool, I added a little bit of olive oil. And then now you're going to take these small tortillas, like street taco size, and you're going to dunk half of it into that liquid that we took the meat out of. And then on that tray, we have meat, some of the shredded cheese, and some fresh cilantro. So you'll dunk that tortilla half in the consomme, throw it on there, and then you'll add a scoop of the beef, some shredded cheese, a little cilantro, and then you're just going to grill them like you would a quesadilla, and you're going to get it good and grilled and melty on each side. And you're just going to go ahead and repeat that until you are out of meat. I just couldn't believe how really easy that this was. I was very intimidated, like I said, by all of those other ingredients, and I was like, this is going to take forever. But besides cooking down the vegetables and making the consomme, it was not hard. The meat cooked amazing inside of that liquid, and then it all fell apart, and then it made these yummy, delicious tacos. And my family is not really big on cilantro, but it goes, you guys. It goes with those flavors. Everybody loved it. Look how cheesy that they were. I used that Taco Bell cheese, the ranch cheese. All of those flavors were just so good together. Look at that cheese. You guys, try these tacos. Do not let them intimidate you. You can cut out the peppers and the adobo if you really want to slow down the spice a little bit. But wow, you guys, these tacos were amazing, and I am so glad you suggested them. That, you guys, however, draws our video to a close. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, like I said, make sure to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought, and if you enjoy these kinds of videos, I'll make sure to go back and grab more of those dinners you suggested, and I will come back and cook them. Not all of them are knock out of the park, but these just happen to be so good. That chicken parm meatloaf, definitely in my arsenal. I don't know if I'll make those Birria Tacos all of the time. I'll definitely have to tone down the spice a little bit, but I like them. Daryl liked them. Jake devoured them. So definitely something I enjoyed making, and it had been, like I said, on my radar for a while. But all right, you guys, thank you so much. Subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, you guys.